Hello, and welcome to the show. I'm King POSH. Today we are looking at the 1990 Nissan Pulsar all-wheel drive drift tune that I have for it. But first, we're going to look at the stock one. They're both got the same engine, the stock one and the all-wheel drive. And I'm also working on a rally tune. So here you can see there is a 2.0 liter four-cylinder in here. And it's quite powerful. It's all hooked up to an all-wheel drive system. And apparently you don't want to... There we go. So it's hooked up to an all-wheel drive system. This is a quick, hot hatch of its time. I was reading up some stuff on it. It's pretty intense of all the stuff that I found on here. I mean, if you Google stuff, you can find out that it has a ATT ESA all-wheel drive system and a unique variant code 54C of the SR20 DET engine, not used on any other car, with a power-to-weight ratio of 0.083 and all-wheel drive. The standard Gti-R is able to accelerate from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in the 5-second bracket and cover the standing mile in the 13-second bracket. Nissan never quoted the official figures, but Best Motoring magazine conducted several tests with standard cars during production, and the top speed is officially stated at 144 miles per hour, or 232 kilometers an hour. You have it. There's the specs. Let's have a listen of this stock engine. It sounds mean. It's got the pop. Sounds good. Let's take this thing out for a spin. I mean, this thing was even comparing to VW Golfs in the same time. I mean, it just was destroying.
You have arrived at your destination.
It's a pretty quick car. It's pretty much a pocket rocket, if you think about it. Yeah, let's look at the specs on here and, see what they have. So it go here. Go here. Yeah, it says 227 horsepower with 209 foot-pounds of torque. Now, the real numbers, let's see if they're exactly the same. I have all the specs here. Yes, it is. It says 227 bhp and 209.5 foot-pounds of torque. That's also 169.3 kilowatts and 284 newton-meter foot-pounds of torque. Other things, turbocharged, dual overhead cam, all kinds of interesting. 0 to 60 in 5.42 seconds, 0 to 100 in 15.26 seconds, in a fourth of a mile in 13.8. The numbers are definitely quicker on the game than they are on the real life car. Fuel capacity, it says on this site, is kind of weird. I don't know. I don't think it's right. It has 55 liters or 4 gallons. That's not much fuel. I think there's more than 4 gallons. Correct me if I'm wrong. Top speed, it says 151, but in real life, it's 144. So, minor things to notice about this car. Other things we can also look at, you can open up the trunk and see in there, and it has special lettering right here. And if you can't read it, we can go to photo mode. And it's kind of like the best way you can actually just get in there. It says dual drive passive radiator system. So that is an interesting saying there. And it also says dual drive right there, you know, PR. Pretty cool stuff. In there, I mean, in the trunk, the boot, they could have done this a little bit better. I mean, with the, you know, pretty much the spare tire protruding from the floor. They could have done better with that. So that's just how you can look deeper into the detail of the car. Alright, well, let's get into it, and let me show you guys my all-wheel drive tune that I did for this thing. We go over here. I have two tunes up, one I'm working on. This King's Rally Race. It is not shared yet because I'm not done with it yet. It's got the stock motor too with 445 horsepower. This thing kills it. It is wicked fast off-road. I'm just trying to work with it to tame it down a little bit before I share it. And then King's Easy Drift. Same engine, stock engine, fully upgraded. You can get 700 horsepower out of it, 570 foot-pounds of torque. It will be heavier by 100 pounds. The front weight is better at 61, and it's now got a 2.4 liter instead of a 2.0. If you didn't see that real quick, it's already got 2 downloads. All right. People are just messing around with it. They're not taking it on any, you know, drift events yet. You know, online drift events. When they do, then it will say used. Things I gotta wait for. Brand new car. Not worried about it. Let's get right into it and show you guys everything you can really do to this car. So, you have engines galore. Whole bunch of them. Alright. Stock powertrain, you can get 700 horsepower out of it. The 3.2 liter, it was like, what, 700 horsepower? The 2.0 was like, I think, 3 to 500 horsepower. This one also around 500 horsepower. This was like 761 or somewhere around there. This is 668. I know that for a fact. Because my next video is the Peugeot, and that's the engine I use. You got a 3.8 liter V6. You can get 1,017 horsepower out of the 3.8. I remember that because I put it on here to see how it would do. See, it says owned. It was garbage. It wasn't that it didn't have enough power. It bogged down so much. The twin turbos are the lifeblood of that engine. And when I'd go drifting and I'd slow down, it would just bog down and just pretty much stop. And then you also have a 2.6 liter 4-rotor racing engine that you can put into here. So stay away from the 3.8. You'll thank me. And stick with the stock engine. 700 horsepower. It's perfect. This is pretty much a rally built car. So it has a really tiny turbo so there's hardly any lag, you know. And it's just great when you're kicking it sideways. You do have options of making it a rear-wheel drive. I did try it with rear-wheel drive. I'm going to come back to it. It spins out a lot. It's got a lot of power, especially when I was running 700 horsepower. And it was only an A-Class 743 was the highest I could get with my rear-wheel drive. And that was with, but that was with rally tires. I might go back and try it with race tires and see if I can get the handle a little bit better. But that's another day. That's another time. Body styles really don't have anything here. You only have a race front bumper here. Alright, and then here, if you know about these hatchbacks, they give you this massive spoiler back here. Now in this one I'm running a stock tire compound. Stock width in the front. Stock width in the rear. This is how big you can get the rear tires. So it's like twice the size of the stocks. Here, I'm going with my rims of choice now, the AVD ones, because they look really good on all the cars that I've put them on. And because it's drifting, I went with the 17s. 17s in the front and 17s in the rear. I left the track width stock for the front and rear. I tested it out. I didn't like it. It was too grippy. So I just put them right back to stock. As you can see, they were owned. I tried them. I didn't like them. Yep. Everything else is going to be a street clutch. Anything higher would have been an S1. I couldn't do that. Everything was going to the engine. Race transmission, street drive line, and a race differential. No race brakes. I know. I had to save, take them off because they took me all the way up to an S. Got drift springs and dampeners. And you got other options here. You can go rally, bring it up, race, or sport. There we got race anti-roll bars for the front and the rear. And it's drift car, so let's go with the full roll cage. And that full roll cage adds 120 pounds. Here, we also did not put anything here, so that's added weight. At 2,800 pounds, it's under 3,000, got 700 horsepower. It's not too bad. You can bring it to around 2,400 or less. So, depending on your rims and whatnot. This thing is pretty light as is. Here, everything is in race. Race turbo, race intercooler, race oil and coolant, and our race flywheel. So, all of the engine and the flywheel, all race mode.
Arrived at your destination.
Semi-straight build. And then you got this other stuff here. You got for your available points for drifting and doing whatnot. You got the weekend toy, exceptional handling. All right, your multiplayer builds twice as fast. People love your car. I don't know why they want it in the first place. All right, extra life. You get a wheel spin with this thing. You get extra drift scores, increase of 30%. You get the flying car for flying skills when you got a rally tune for it. You got the drift destroyer, all right? Ultimate passing, the pass master, in absolute speed. And then you got the dirt monster, so you get 10% more influence when you're doing dirt with your rally tune. And that's what we're working on. There you have it. Let's get right into the tune, guys, and show you guys what I did to this thing. Now I'm gonna step away and be back in a second. And there you have it. A little hashback, but I got 84% going to the rear. I tried 71, I tried 63, I tried 50, and to get this thing back end to actually kick out, I had to go all the way up to 84% going to the rear. And it works. As you can tell, it drifts pretty darn good. The first time I took it out, I got a 49,000. So 46,000 on this, not too bad. Took it up needle climb. It hit over 450,000. I called that good too. Anything over 450,000 to 500 plus, I call a winner. It was very smooth up the mountain. Third, fourth gear, depending on how you like it. But I was running third, mainly up the hill, and it just stayed right at the red line and sat there and was perfect. So great car, highly recommend it. Here's the tune again if you didn't see it, if you want to try it out. It's King's Easy Drift. As you can tell on the alignment, it was 3.8. I usually run 3.6. I tried 3.7, it was pretty good. I tried 3.8, it was perfect. I didn't try 3.9. I figured 3.8 was good enough, and we went from there. So guys, I'm glad you enjoyed these videos. Thank you for the likes, the comments. Alright guys, I think that's about it. I got other cars to do for you guys, so I will see you next time. Peace out guys. I'm King Posh.